Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions, to this holy celebration of the infinite light of being. And I just see how joyful, really joyful it can be to look together with Jesus when we really open and like step directly into it. I was just talking to Renee today, about that. Like, it's such a turnaround. Like, if I didn't look directly at it, that's where all the pain and suffering was. Like, not really looking with him so directly. And so this is really precious to like really turn and face whatever's coming and face with it with him, so we can see it in the light of being, the light and the power that we have. And in this way, through this direct looking, I'm seeing just like taking it head on and saying, okay, Jesus, show me everything. And it just transforms everything that's experienced here so quickly. Before, I think it was just, not wanting to look, actually, and trying to toe dip it in a way. Okay, I'll look a little bit, to really look so directly with him. I could see that with Muji too. And you just encourage you, don't step back, don't back off, and see who the divine being is first. See who you are first. I love that about Muji. It just really, it called to my heart so deeply. See what a powerful being that you are first. Look at the light, see that you're light, keep looking, don't stop, and then we just cheer each other on, keep looking. And then look so directly with him at the denials, any twitch. It's like, okay, I'm denying happiness, show me, Jesus. And it just moves. It feels like it goes so quickly. It's so helpful. Everything, I just look at everything with him. And it's so helpful. So I'm grateful for this opportunity 2 times a day to come together in this way. It's such a gift. It's really a gift. And so I thank you for the gift of your presence here, the light that we share to celebrate every day who we are. So when I was at the conference, 2 new chapters to A New Covenant came in. Now I haven't put them out yet. I mean, a couple of beings, but I will put them out maybe over the next week, that they'll actually be distributed. I thought last night I read one on trust, and then this chapter on healing. And it really ties in with today's lesson, of course, which is a review of looking at what healing really is. And as soon as we see it, it's just so powerful, because to see what healing truly is to see how powerful we are. Because healing is always pointing beyond, for us to see that there's nothing to be healed. I need do nothing. And in the light of divine being, if we look as the light of divine being, the light that we share, can we find anything that needs to be healed? It's so encouraging, because it really takes the cover off of the identity, the old identity, that there's someone here to be healed. Yet it's such, Jesus, so powerful in A Course in Miracles at what he's pointing to. And this really deep looking at what healing is. It's not the healing that we think of in the world, because we think in the world, I always assumed like healing was body getting better, a change in a body form. He's talking about complete transformation in consciousness from feeling small and limited to, and so involved with small, little, insignificant things that don't matter, to this recognition of the power we carry as divine beings, that's already here. So here's chapter 19. Get so encouraged by this. And he starts out the chapter, Healing is a thought. Healing is a thought. Like forgiveness, it is a helpful thought until it is seen there is no one to heal and no one who is doing the healing. Again, if we look as the infinite light, can we find someone who's actually healing? The light that we are doesn't need to be healed. Yet because of that decision to play within consciousness, the addiction to consciousness, being conscious and playing in the world, not where we're, it's funny because consciousness is the means by which we actually become unconscious of our own divine nature, unaware of our own divine nature by fragmenting consciousness into parts and pieces, as Jesus was saying in today's lesson, little parts and pieces. So healing is the means by which we see that consciousness, even consciousness itself, is already unified consciousness. That we're just playing in this stream of consciousness of fragmentation. There is only love. Yet forgiveness is given as the remedy to the belief that error of thought and thus sin is real. It feels really helpful to look with Jesus to say, is there any belief below my level of awareness that I have sinned in terms of the belief that sin is real? Jesus, show me. Do I have any guilt for creating the world? We looked at that before, yet it's helpful to look again. Show me. I'm willing to, in this light that I share, in this power with my brothers, I'm willing to see it. The belief that thoughts are real. Which is really a desire to experience thoughts as a means to deny reality, deny the light. Deny that the light has no thoughts. Does the light of infinite being have any thoughts? I've really been talking to Jesus and just really looking directly at this desire even to have thoughts. Because you can see when you look, its divine being doesn't have any thoughts. It's that involvement of the thought with thoughts that makes the world seem so real. And to those who believe that sin is real and that the only justice is punishment for sin, a justice that is not of the Father, forgiveness is the remedy that points back to what is beyond healing. It's beautiful how Jesus uses forgiveness to point back to ourselves. To point back that we believe we need forgiveness, actually, because we believe we have sinned to create the world. And he's saying, no, look with me. Look with me now to see your innocence and the innocence of your brother. To see that the need for healing never happened. In the light of divine being, again, is healing needed for the light. In our direct experience as divine being. So we know we don't need healing because we're the same as God, and God knows we don't need healing. Yet a means needed to be given because we're so addicted to the dream of separation and consciousness and playing in the game of sun. It's like the wake-up call. It's the alarm that goes ding, 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 ding. You're denying God. You're denying yourself. And here's a way to look beyond the lie that we've gotten used to telling ourselves, that we're not divine, that we're not this light, infinite light. To see that infinite light needs no healing. And that's the contrast again, infinite light, and everything else other than that is just an idea of who we think we are. And so we look deeply at healing and what healing is. Truly, the remedy given to the one who believes it is possible to sleep. The one who believes it's possible to deny that we're already healed and whole. This is a sleep without rest. In this dream of separation, has rest ever been found in our direct experience? In any lifetime, has it ever been found? But notice the feeling of the light, how the light feels. This is why it's so valuable when Jesus says, how do you feel? Staying as the light. Just as the tiny mad idea, the idea that healing is necessary, never happened. Like, how can that be in this world? Jesus is talking about healing because we can see it as the light. We can see that there's no healing necessary. Yet, if we're not perfect peace, then healing is necessary. It's the means by which it's given. To see healing is merely ceasing to deny that we're already divine. This is the sleep of the dead. Consciousness is the sleep of the dead. We think we go to sleep at night. We're sleeping in the day and in the night. Both are sleeping, both are part of the dream. This is the sleep of the dead who claim that God cannot be known and that they are abandoned by the very one who can never abandon them. In our direct experience, can the light ever leave us? So the light can never leave in our direct experience when we really look. And in this desire to experience abandonment, all sickness of the world arises. Sickness, suffering, and death. All means to say, no, God, I am not one with you. No, God, I don't want to be one with you. Yet, that is the way out, to admit that that's exactly what we're saying in every single case, without exception. The slightest twinge. And that's what he's saying. Honesty of God is going, okay, I'm not at peace. Therefore, I desire an experience of not being at peace and to deny my Father. That's how simple he's making it in a new covenant. He's done that in the Course as well. It is like, this is the Reader's Digest, because he knows the mind's really ready for that laser focus that we're all ready for, this focus on divine being, and to look so quickly with the light of divine being, to see that those denials, and even if we have denials, They don't do anything to the light. That the light is unchanged, our divine nature. The dream of death and destruction, where unhappiness reigns and the body seems to fall ill, or with mishaps and pain, accepted as the way of life. I love how he talked about acceptance in the last chapter last night, with that, to really distinguish the acceptance of divinity, the acceptance that the light is the only thing that's real, infinite light, infinite being. It's not meaning that we just accept whatever's arising in consciousness. We accept that if we're not at peace, then we have made a decision to deny ourselves peace. That's true acceptance. That's acceptance of God. That's honesty of God. That's what I'm seeing, what true honesty is. And saying, no, I just really don't want God right now. I want God to go away. And then we can really, when that admission comes, we're really in a position to ask Jesus, like all the angels fly in. All the angels just fly in when we finally admit that we're doing this to ourselves. Somebody said that to me in communion. It's like, what are you talking about? But I see how direct and powerful that is, because we see how powerful we really are. If we can just create this whole world, this is just nothing compared to who we really are. Nothing. So effortlessly, everywhere we look, we're miscreating this picture. But look how diverse. I mean, even if we look closely at it and see the diversity in it, the magnificence of it, the magnificence of the smallest thing, because each thing carries the power of God with it, our own divine expression. But as the play of consciousness to go down to one little thing to notice, one little problem right here in all this magnificence. Mind watching is so helpful, isn't it? Because we can just watch how it's going to hone in on that one thing to find the play in consciousness, to find the one thing that's not working in all the magnificence that's here being expressed, that one thing that's a problem. And then like invest, and then you can just watch how the mind will start. It takes one thought and it adds another one, and it starts building in like a whole tree, and the tree becomes a story of what never happened. Like, and it feels so real. It literally congeals into an object. I once said that. It's like, no, Jesus, I want to congeal into an object like Jello. I did, because I knew it. It's like, I want to be an object acting. You can just see that energy. That's all we're looking at with Jesus. I got in the hot tub, and I do like hot baths, but I'm willing to look with Jesus and go, okay, because he's saying, then look at any desired experience in that, because I value infinite grace more than I value getting in a hot tub nowadays. That would have been unheard of before. What do you mean I can't have my hot tub? Hold me back. You mean, Jesus, you're going to take my hot tub away? But it's like, no, not now. It's like, is there any desire here for an experience? Because I can see if there's any denial of divinity, it's like, I'll take divinity, that infinite joy that just like pours out. It's like, give me more of that. So it is nice. He doesn't deny us the hot tub. He said, I feel so much love, even saying that, it's so much love. It's just that our happiness is completely unrelated to any objective experience, getting in a hot tub or anything. Like, we are happiness machines. Like, we are, like, love pours out from us, like pours and pours and pours and pours and pours. Like we talked about yesterday, unless we just put our hand out and put a kink in the pipe of love pouring out. And then we're going, why am I hurting so much? And now he's showing us, let me show you how to open up that pipe, which he's saying right here, which is healing. through forgiveness to see that it ain't so, none of it, not a single thought is true. And that's true healing. None of it's true. That's a new kind of healing. True happiness. This is the way of the ego, the way of death and eternal damnation. Like, Jesus, do I have a desire to experience hell? He says, yep. Did I? Yes. When we get honest, that's honesty of God. That's the only honesty. Yep. The experience, the ego is the desire for an experience of hell and damnation. So, okay. Life, it's so much happier when we just admit it and then give them all the, say, okay. But, and to see, okay, and is it more powerful than this light? Is the desire for an ego, we can look with the light, more powerful than infinite light already here? We can ask Jesus, and we're asking ourselves, our true self, to answer that, like, no. Is it more powerful? Is a single thought, many thoughts? Is this whole universe more powerful than the light that's here? Like, oh. Life is who you are. Life is who we are. Everything. Life is who you are, the answer to the question, I am not a body, what am I? That's a good one to ask. I am not a body, what am I? And be silent after asking that question. Ego's going to fill in all kinds of extra paraphernalia because we're so used to thought. Just ignore all that and just go, okay, well, we already know because we've been sitting in the light circles. So we know the answer to that question is light. Is the answer to that question light? You can ask Divine Being that and hear the answer. Because we are light and we all get the same answer as the light. That's the beauty of this. This is the only question that has value in this world until it is seen that even this question need not be asked. Does the light need to ask the question, I am not a body, what am I? That's like, well, like, this is the only question that has value in this world until it is seen that even this question need not be asked, for the answer is self-apparent. Unless it is denied. The whole gig of the world is to deny that we're light, infinite light that we celebrate every day here. Denial is the need for healing. This is the only thing that must be healed, the denial of infinite love. And we can look with the light, and the light of Divine Being. Can one denial, can any denial, is it any denial more powerful than the infinite light that's here in our direct experience? Miracles are not seeming expressions in form. Seems like things that kind of happen and they seem like a miracle. Miracles are natural expressions of divine nature celebrating itself. It's an expression of creation, expression of our full divinity as divine light beings. That's why he says purification is necessary first, because we're so used to denying our own miracle of ourselves. That's why the purification. But now the mind's reaching, and through these light circles, to see that the power that we carry as light beings, the ease of being light only. And in that, miracles are just natural. I love how Mooji talks about natural noticing. Just notice the light's here. The light can't abandon us. The light's here whether we're denying it or not. It doesn't, does it go away with the denial? It's still here. Does it try to convince us we're light? Does it say, look, you're really the light? It doesn't do, it's just there, it's just here. So it's funny, the humor of it is we have to convince ourselves that we're the light. Form may reflect miracle-mindedness as form reflects what is in the mind. So form will start to reflect the purity in the mind. Once our godlike nature becomes revealed. So the form just, well, form follows the mind because it's an expression of mind. So things get lighter because we're not false, we're not using miscreation anymore, or manifestation, trying to manifest and manipulate form anymore as a way to deny divinity. As form reflects what is in the mind, however, the truly miracle-minded make no mistakes that appearances and form can in any way define who they are. So the form is what we see with the eyes is a fun play, but it is just a play because in miracle-mindedness, we can look at the light. Does the light feel that form can in any way define what it is? Can the pictures that are showing up here define the light that we are in our direct experience? So as we become more and more miracle-minded, we don't, I mean, the form's a fun play and you start, these amazing things happen and things start moving, but there's no longer the mistaken impression that we're anything other than God, child of God, and that the form has no way to impact us because it's our own mind expressing in pictures. As shared in A Course in Miracles, healing is of the mind, to see what has been denied and cease to deny it through a means of miracles and forgiveness. This shift in perception reveals that nothing ever happened. Jesus talks about this in the Course. All of this is in the Course, actually. The Son of God remains always untouched, shining holy light of the Father with the Son as one in light and one in truth. Sameness with God. Happiness guaranteed. Happiness guaranteed. You're not even guaranteed to win the lottery. Like, this is so amazing when you look at it. It's 100% chance that we're the light. That's better than a rain forecast. You know, like you can't, it's 100%. Is it 100% chance that we're light? And you can ask the light that because we're light beings. 100%. 100%. we're so used to being really unhappy and playing with the desire to be unhappy. Like I realized I didn't even really know. I mean, I had obviously wanted this experience denying happiness. Okay. So it played out in form. And I just, okay, for whatever reason, don't know, don't need to know. Right. But I can see, like when Jesus says, and he's pointing in the Course, that we really don't know what happiness is. I really didn't know what happiness is. It's not like a clue. I thought, because it was so associated with something in the future. When it goes ding, 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 wait a minute. Happiness isn't anything other than who I am. Like us, this. Like we are love itself. We are the light. Like by marinating, I love that with Muji. Marinate as the light, marinate. And he says the fruits get sweeter and sweeter. Sweeter and sweeter. Like we're like little happiness. I don't know what we are, how that even works. Like little happiness popsicles. I don't know. But that's the fulfillment of what he's promising us. Like so sometimes you're like a little happiness rocket going around, that's what he's promising us, because our mind's clearing, right? The debris is beautiful Desi would say, you're cleaning out the dust bunnies that deny infinite love. It feels like a good project, actually. Okay. Some may point to the spontaneous healing that occurred when I touch people of the world as a demonstration of healing that is called for in A Course in Miracles. Let me be clear in saying that touching people in this world is not healing. This is for me specifically. I can tell because, it's a helpful step, because I was like, I didn't want to admit it to anybody because I was like a scientist, high analytical scientist, but this is how the Holy Spirit came in and just like unwound me from that because you can start to see it. So then somebody taught me Reiki, and I started doing like energy healing and quantum touch and all these kinds of things, and started to see all these changes in form between belief change, coaching with belief, and seeing how beliefs, when they change, that form would change, like shapes of people's hands. But that was for me to look for that high analytical, try to figure it out in form, mind, to move beyond mind. And it blew my mind, actually, to move more into like intuitive power. So he's not saying it's not a helpful step. What was unhealed about that, that high intuitive, and I could start touching people and hearing what they were thinking kind of thing. It's natural to us, right? But if you're, that the scientist who was trying to like figure it all out, that was the way that the Spirit was using to like blow my mind, blow all my concepts about the world and control things for being a scientist out. So it was a helpful step, but the challenge there, eventually, we kind of outgrow these things, was to see that there was still a K, and that there's still somebody who's I'm healing. So the unhealed healer remained, and that had to be washed out, that there's somebody else to heal. So that's what he's saying here. It's not like he's taking something away. He's just offering, like, to me, to all of us, that the fastest way is to really understand what healing truly is. It's not laying on of hands, or, that's a helpful stepping stone. The healing is to see the power the mind has to actually seemingly create a body that's ill or not ill. It's to look in the mind and see, okay, do I have any belief that somebody's actually ill out there? And that some illness is outside of myself, or something's actually happening in form. Let me be clear in saying that touching people in this world is not healing. I mean, he's not against touching people in this world. It's just, he's really honing in that it's in the mind. That's all he's trying to say. The healing that seemed to occur when he was in the world, in that expression example, was a simple, ordinary expression of divinity and alignment with the Father's will. It seemed to appear in the images and form that a blind could see and the dead walked. It was a reflection of the power of a healed mind. A healed mind, because the dead mind is what's killing people. You know, the desire for death kills bodies and makes them wake up and makes them have all kinds of illnesses and cure from illnesses. It's the play in consciousness. When he's saying we're so powerful, we're the ones who are creating death. And so when your mind is healed, the dead may raise up. He sat there in Jerusalem, right in front of Golgotha. He sent me on assignment there. He said, you could hear that voice, and we can hear the voice within saying, you will see those kinds of miracles in your lifetime, because everything I am, you are. But he says right here, and it's really helpful, the most helpful point is that in this movement in consciousness, I had no illusions that healing was needed, nor that there was anyone to heal, as there simply is there's not an other out there to be healed. And this subtlety idea that there's an other to be healed has to be washed out, or it's a denial of our divinity, that there's someone to healed or who gets healed. Or that's why he keeps saying, take it back to our minds to take a look. My instruction to others was not to speak about these appearances, like he told the apostles not to speak on this. The reason is, for the Spirit of Truth does not emphasize appearances or changes in appearances. The Spirit of truth, just as you are, is beyond what appears in form and merely points back to the truth of what is already whole, holy, and complete. The light's always pointing to light. It just points to the light. Does the light of divine being correct anything? It doesn't know what correction is. Our light, our divine being. Can we find something to correct in the light? But it may show up in consciousness as the mind is healed, but there's no illusion anymore that this body here is doing something to another body over there. That illusion drops. You just see all that's here is like expression of divinity happening in its fullness, exactly how it appears. There is no appearance in form, no change in form that can prove who you are. He's just pointing to the subtle. I can see it here. You know, I really watch my mind on this. When something kind of appears to be, you know, and I might call it a miracle. That feels like a miracle. But he's really pointing, just see that he would tell me, a miracle is not when things are going your way, you know, because it seems like something good happens, you know, somebody picks you up at the airport on time and all that. The miracle is to see that you're at perfect peace all the time, you know. So I got the little Jesus talk on that one. But it's helpful, right? Because then you get these little distinctions about how we're really trying to use form to prove who we are, or prove things are good or bad or getting better, or, you know, all ways of denying perfect happiness. There's no appearance in form nor change in form that can prove who you are, nor define who you are. Can the form, what's appearing in form, define the light? Can the light of infinite being that we share be influenced in any way by form. And if we look, we can see it can't be. To emphasize healing in form in any manner is not the fastest mean for the recognition of divinity. It can be a distraction. Because again, it's a movement to form, to look for proof that God exists. Oh, this cancer went away. Oh, this cancer stayed. It's looking in form for proof, rather than seeing that all the proof is that the light's here now. And then ceasing to deny it, to see that, perfect happiness and perfect peace is here. And it's here whether or not there seems to be a bump on an arm, or there's not an arm or a leg, or, however it's going to play in consciousness, that we are perfect peace regardless of what's on the screen of consciousness. Remember, I said not to underlying conditions for which healing is needed. The beliefs and desires in the subconscious mind that lead to the desired experience that something has gone wrong, and thus that healing is necessary. This is true healing that is in service to the recognition of divinity. So he's just pointing to the fast way. He's not saying, no, don't go out and do hands-on healing. For me, like, it was a helpful step, but now I can see that seeing that there's no one to heal is highly valuable, except here, in the mind. As soon as the focus devolves to healing form, the desire for changes in form, the real power of the acceptance of divinity is lost. It is a denial of divinity cloaked as healing. So it's level confusion of where true healing's happening. It is the use of magic which merely trades one form of belief for another. This is really beautiful. Let's see. That's a good one to marinate on right there. Well, does the light need magic? Just ask the light to be itself, to be what it is. Does it need a change in form to be what it is? Infinite light. Without looking at the thoughts below the level of awareness, the timeline remains with the attempt to change form and save a body. So we can see it's still a play within consciousness to try to prove that form, changes in form, are salvation. That salvation comes from some change in form, change in circumstance, change in if-then, something in the future. When salvation is here is the light that we are, infinite light. The emphasis becomes saving a body and reinforces the belief that salvation is saving a body and changing form. You're beyond a body. It is looking at the thoughts with me to see the beliefs and desire for the experience of illness. The desire to be wrong-minded. The desire to experience wrong-mindedness. This is what, I think I lost my place here. With me, it's looking at the thoughts with me to see the beliefs and desire for the experience of illness, to see the desire for the experience that there is something to be healed. It's desired experience for something to be healed, and that there is someone who needs healing. This is what leads to freedom of the mind, the recognition that there is nothing to heal and no one who needs healing. Infinite love, our natural state, never needs healing. Only the wrong mind, which denies that it's already infinite love, needs this form of thought reminder to cease the desire to dream of forgetting what it already is. Infinite love never needs healing, only the wrong mind, which denies that it is already infinite love, needs this thought reminder to cease the desire to dream of forgetting, the desire to dream of forgetting, the desire to remember not to laugh, the desire to dream forgetting what it already is. Light. Yeah, we would think that like all the death and destruction would be an indication that it's valuable to really look carefully at it. All the death and destruction of the world. To look beyond, to look at what's behind the curtain. I thank you for coming today and shining your light with us on truth, the truth of who we are. Any two or more gathered in his name, there's love. So today we wanted to offer, to share, extend with you a little video that came in. I don't know very much about it. Renee, do you know how long it is? There's a little 40-minute video on Helen Schuckman, people talking about Helen, that just went up on YouTube. So if you would like to watch it with us, we are happy to play it, and we'll turn off the live streaming. You know, obviously we won't need that, so I'm going to turn that off right now, the record, you know, the live stream.